Om 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 Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namah Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padambu Janmane Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaika Karmane Hari Om. In Panchadashi chapter 7, Tripti Dipa, we have been looking into how the teacher, the Acharya here, Swami Vidyaranya, is trying to explain about what are all the states of the individual consciousness, that is the Chidabhasa or the Jiva of Ajnana, Avarana and Vikshepa. Ajnana means I don't know. Avarana means I cannot see, so it is not there. Vikshepa means I think I am the doer. These are the three problems that were being spoken about. Now, in these few around 25 verses from now, the teacher speaks about the importance of indirect knowledge and direct knowledge. That is Pratyaksha, Paroksha Jnana and Aparoksha Jnana. In the story of the 10th man, the wise man comes to the boys of the Gurukula who are all crying, saying that somebody is missing and they are drowned. He said, the 10th man is there, don't worry, relax, the 10th man is there. That is Pratyaksha, first is there. And then he counted and made them all realize that they are the 10th man. So that is Aparoksha Jnana. First is Pratyaksha Jnana, it is there. He made them count and he showed to them. And then they realized that they are the 10th man. In the same way, the Guru, the Upanishads point out to the self within, and then we realize that we are the self. This is Aparoksha Jnana, Paroksha Jnana and Aparoksha Jnana. The importance of these two states in our realization. Jnanadvayena nashtesmin ajnane tatkrita vrutihi nabhati nasti chetyesha dvividhapi vinashyati. Jnanadvayena, by indirect knowledge, meaning Paroksha Jnana, pointed out by the Guru, the teacher, and by direct knowledge, Aparoksha Jnana, or realizing that I am that. Nashte asmin ajnane tatkrita avritihi. With this indirect knowledge and direct knowledge, the ignorance of I don't know who I am and I can't see, and so it is not there. The ajnana and the avarana, the ignorance of the true self and the veiling of the true self, both of them get destroyed by paroksha. We don't need to wait for aparoksha jnana. Paroksha jnana itself can do the work. But if we really want to be very certain and know for ourselves, then aparoksha jnana only finalizes the whole process. Both are important and both are necessary. Dvividhapi vinashyati. Even though it is of two kinds, it gets destroyed. The ignorance and veiling are no more. Paroksha jnanato nashyet asatva vritti hetunam aparoksha jnana nashya hyabhana vritti hetunam परोक्ष ज्ञान तो नश्येत असत्वावृति हेतुताम अपरोक्ष ज्ञान नाश्या ह्यभानावृति हेतुताम. So paroksha jnanena nashyet, by indirect knowledge, by the guru or the master pointing out to us that the self is there. What does the master say? He does not say, I am the self or we are the self. He says, Brahman is there. Their task ends there. Jnanadvayena, by the two kinds of knowledge, Paroksha Jnanataha, from this indirect knowledge, Nashyet is destroyed, or more than the word destroyed, negated. It is not there. There is something small that we are seeing, and on top of it something very big and beautiful is overpowering that, and we are seeing that. So when we are seeing this big and beautiful thing, whatever is very small and whatever is very petty, it does not stay in our mind, it just goes away. That is what it means by nashyet here. Negation means we do not take account of it. It is not there in our understanding anymore. Asatva avriti hetuta. The misconception by indirect knowledge of the teacher or the guru, the misconception that the Brahman does not exist, the truth does not exist, it goes away. Then what happens? Aparoksha jnana nashya, he by direct knowledge, what is destroyed indeed, verily, abhana avriti hetuta. So we are now saying, I cannot see, it is not there, right? So that it is not there is destroyed by paroksha jnana, and I cannot see is destroyed by aparoksha jnana. When I realize the truth, I know that I am that. And so the ignorance of the reality gets destroyed. How much ever we may talk about all this, it is like sitting with a teacher on the banks of the swimming pool and then getting a theoretical knowledge of how to get into the water, how to place the leg against the wall first, and then how to stretch out your hands and give a push with the leg and move forward in the swimming pool, and then take the hand forward, the right hand slapping the water, then the left hand slapping the water, right hand and then left hand, and how to move the foot up and down, slapping the water from behind. All this the teacher will teach us on the shore. But actually we will learn how to swim only when we get into water and start doing it for ourselves without fear. So this is the whole process of self-knowledge also. By indirect knowledge, the understanding that it is not there goes away. By direct knowledge, the thinking or the belief that I can't see it, that also goes away. What happens with the destruction of the ignorance and the veiling? So in our life, why should we choose to seek after knowledge? What is the problem when we are sitting with ignorance? And what is the problem when our knowledge of the truth is covered? So why should we seek to remove them? Abhana varane nashte jivatvaropa samkshayat kartrutva dyakhila shokah samsarakyo nivartate abhana avarane nashte. Avarana is the veiling. Abhana is I don't know, non-apprehension. I'm not able to get it. I'm not able to understand what you talk about the truth. I don't know. But that veiling goes away. Nashte jivatva aropa samkshayat. The aropa or superimposition of jivatva or limitedness of the body, mind and intellect on the self. Superimposition means the body, mind and intellect thought is very strong, and that is superimposed on the self means we say that I am the body, I am the mind, and I am the intellect. When actually the self alone is I, the body, mind, and intellect are just temporary thoughts in our mind. But when this ignorance, the veiling of ignorance is removed, then this superimposition also goes away. When the superimposition goes away, we realize I am that infinite self. I am the one that is all dharma, aishwaryasya, all leadership, dharmasya, all goodness, yashasaha, all fame. I am all knowledge. I am all dispassion. I am all wealth. When I realize all this, then what happens? When I'm all wealth, I don't need to do anything for gaining wealth. When I'm all knowledge, I don't need to study anything for gaining knowledge. When I'm all leadership power is in me. I don't need to please anybody or go after anybody to gain powers of leadership. When I am all dispassion, I don't need to try to push away things from my life or get rid of things or run away from things, situation and people, because I am dispassion. When this realization comes, kartritvadi akhilaha shokaha. When this realization of the truth comes, I stop being a person who thinks that I have to do something all the time. Kartrutva, I am the doer. I have to do. If I don't do, things are not going to work in my life. Along with that sense of doership, akhilaha shokaha, all sorrow is gone. So why do we have sorrow in our life? We have sorrow because of this sense of the false sense of doership, the wrong sense of doership. When actually that supreme truth, which is all wealth, all prosperity, all goodness, all leadership, all knowledge, and all dispassion is there, we keep acting up all the time, thinking that we are only the doer, and we most of the time we mess up with many things. Especially if you see, even in any corporate setup or even in a spiritual organization, you might see the people who really are doing things in the background very quietly. They have set the space for everything to happen smoothly. They'd have done that very quietly without the knowledge of anybody. Somebody may come and they will make so much of noise. They'll say, you come here, you sit there, you do that, you do this, come. See, only I am doing, come and report to me. You ask me whatever, they will make so much of noise that everybody will be thinking that they are only doing everything. Actually, loud mouths, what is that called? There's a very beautiful proverb. Empty vessels make the most noise. So people who make the most noise are hardly the doers. The people who actually do are very, very quiet and very, very silent and deep. So kartrutvadi akhilaha shokaha. And such people who think that they are doing and they go about making noise, running hither and thither, the program also will happen beautifully. All those people who participated, who don't know about all this, they will just enjoy and go away. The people who quietly worked behind the scenes, who did not take any credit, but they just did what was required to be done without seeking any recognition, they will also be happy. But these people who are making the most noise and who would not have got any kind of recognition that they expected out of it, they are the ones who will suffer at the end of the day, because their throat will go, the body will become tired, the head will ache because of the so much of politics that they are forced to handle, because of being the center of action and center of attraction. So many things would have happened that they will go through a lot of sorrow. So the cause for sorrow is not hard work. The cause for sorrow is not taking up responsibility and discharging our duties. The cause of sorrow is only kartrutva bhava. The sense of doership that I have is the cause for sorrow. If I don't have that sense of doership, I will have no problem in this life. Even if there's a physical pain or physical suffering, anyway, I am not the doer of this pain. I have not created the pain. Somebody has created the pain. Some higher power has created the pain in this body. Let it be. And I do the needful. I will enjoy a lot of peace despite the difficulties. And this sense of doership and the sorrow alone is called samsara. Samsara akyaha nivartate. This samsara, or the play of duality, like and dislike, pain and pleasure, morning and night, birth and death, awareness and unawareness, ignorance and knowledge, all kinds of dualities and disturbances. Duality means we will like one of the two, and that one also will move to give way to the second. And when the second comes, we are disturbed. And when the second goes and the first comes, we are anxious that it will go away. So, anyway, there is only pain in samsara, and this samsara will go away when we give up the sense of doership. And when does the sense of doership go? When the ignorance goes and the wailing also is no more. When the ignorance of the true self is gone and the wailing, or I cannot see who I am, is also gone, when I see who I am, then I know that I am not the doer of any action. I am not the enjoyer of any results. I am that supreme bliss, supreme knowledge, supreme power that is always present and lending its support for all actions, all activities, all qualities in this world. When I realize that, I have no sense of doership, and with that sense of lack of a sense of doership also goes away samsara, or constant transmigration and change. Living in this, we will continue to live in this world, but these changes will not affect us. When morning comes, we are fine. When night comes, we do what we have to do at night. We are fine for that also. Samsara, not being affected by samsara, is like if you have ever had this experience of traveling by flight from one place to another. You go from your, provided everything is very safe and everything goes on very well. You leave your home, you take a cab to the airport, you check in your luggage, you relax at the counter, at the waiting lounge for your boarding call, and then everything is taken care of because so much of money has been paid, all courteous services provided, all tickets are checked, verified, luggage is boarded. We have a very light luggage with us. We just walk quietly through the aisle into the flight, or even if we have to take a bus, it is an air-conditioned bus where we can comfortably get a seat, and then we move. We just climb a flight of stairs and board our seat, and then hardly 2 hours. In the 2 hours, we are also well provided for. Food is there. We take rest, we read, we listen to some music, and in 2 hours or whatever time the flight gently rolls down, gets grounded in the airport where we want to go. We just check out very smoothly. We take a cab. We go to the place where we want to. We spend beautiful time. And from there, we go to another place by flight. It is just an imaginary tour that we are going. There are so many changes are happening. You move from your house to the airport, and from the flight to another location, and in another location you spend a very nice time in somebody's house or some other venue, in a hotel or wherever. Everywhere everything is taken care of well. You keep moving on and on and on, and finally, when you return home, you'd have gone through so much of change, so many changes around. Temperatures, changes in temperature, changes in atmosphere, changes in difference, changes in the number of people around us in a different, but everywhere the experience has been very good for us. So it has not really disturbed us in any way. That is what it means, that samsara will be no more for us means no experience in life will disturb us anymore. When this sense of doership, so just apply the sense of doership in all this routine. Okay, I am going to the airport. There's a lot of heaviness in that attitude. So we will tend, when we have that heaviness, it is like jumping into the swimming pool with a lot of fear. The body becomes heavy. Or jumping into the swimming pool that I am only doing this, I am only swimming. You see how powerful I am. When that thought comes, the body becomes very heavy. Actually, swimming is happening not because of us, but because of the water. This is the same thing that when we understand in consciousness, in life, life is happening. Situations are happening not because of us, but because of consciousness. Because of the power of consciousness all around us, everything is happening beautifully in our life. We will not have the sense of doership. When we don't have the sense of doership, everything will be light about us, and nothing in this world will affect us. Good and bad, right and wrong, inside, outside, likes and dislikes, everything will just touch us like water and keep going. Constantly in the swimming pool, whether you are putting your right hand first or left hand first, or slapping your leg, or simply floating in water, all the time you're being touched by water. So, same way, whatever we do, whether we shout, whether we get angry, whether we are happy, whether we are sad, whether we are disturbed, whether we are relaxing, whether we are tired, all the time we are touched by consciousness on all sides. When we understand this, life, samsara will be no more in our life. There will be no change or transmigration between birth and death, and we will be liberated. निवृत्ते सर्व संसारे नित्य मुक्तत्व भासनात् निरंकुशा भवेत् तृप्तिः पुनः शोका समुद्भवात्. निवृत्ते सर्व संसारे, when all samsara or all change goes away, nivritte, what happens? Nitya muktatva bhasanat. How does samsara go? When I know that I am eternally free, I am not bound by anything. When I know that I am eternally free, nitya muktatva bhasanat, because I am realizing that I am eternally free. I know the self. I know who that God is. I realize that and I see it for myself directly. I experience it directly. So I know I'm eternally free. Because I know I'm eternally free, nothing that happens in this world, people, object, situations, will disturb me. So that is called samsara nivritti. Then what happens to me after that? What is there to experience in this world? Nirankusha bhavet triptihi. Unbridled contentment. Punaha shokam asamudbhavat. I'm content always because sorrow does not resurface in my life at all after this. When does it not resurface? When I give up the sense of doership and I realize who I am, and I am just living in that knowledge of the self, in that experience of the self. Sorrow will not touch me in my life. Sorrow will not come again. The waves of sorrow will not touch me. When I realize I am the ocean, the wave is not going to do anything to the ocean. However big the wave may be, however big the tsunami may be, it will just crash into the ocean. Nothing will happen. The ocean will not get disturbed even a little bit by a big wave or a small wave or anything in the ocean. So that will be my experience in life. Here, Puja Guruji says, no return of sorrow. When the individuality leaves due to direct knowledge, the sorrows disappear and never comes back. Ignorance is the cause, suffering is the effect. Ignorance once eliminated never makes a comeback. When you have realized that you are light, where is the question of darkness in my perception? When there is a torchlight, there is going to be no darkness in the vicinity of that stream of light of the torch. So there is no possibility for darkness. When ignorance is gone, the light, the veiling over the light is gone, ignorance is gone, there is only light. Light means there is only knowledge all around. When it comes to the world outside, we speak in terms of light. When it comes to the world inside, what is light and what is darkness? The awareness or the thought of I am is light, and everything else other than this thought is darkness. And everything else other than this thought goes away, and the thought of I am alone remains. The significance of the discussion on the 7 states is thus explained. All these 7 states, do we need all these states? Is it not enough if I just realize? Why should we talk about the ignorance going away? Why should we talk about the veiling be removed? Why should we talk about the sense of doership going away? And why should we talk about external source of knowledge and then internal understanding of the truth? Aparoksha jnana shoka, aparoksha jnana shoka nivrityakhe ubhe ime avasthe jivage bruta atmanam chediti shrutihi. The Shruti says, the first word, the first verse from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Atmanam Chet Vijaniyat. If you think about the self, no, Ayam Asmi iti Purushaha. That is the first verse with which we began. Atmanam Chet. This word Atmanam Chet means here Aparoksha Jnana Shoka Nivrityakhe Ubhe Avaste. 2 stages. Aparoksha Jnana, Shoka Nivritti. Aparoksha Jnana means direct understanding that I am the self. Aparoksha. Paroksha means somebody else coming and telling me. Paroksha means I am sitting in Chennai and I see the cricket match happening in Australia, live telecast, and through television I am seeing it Chennai. I am not seeing it directly. It is not pratyaksha, it is paraksha. Here the I is the cameraman and the satellite that is watching the match and beaming it through the television sets in Chennai. So aparoksha means I myself knowing for myself. For example, that television, the cricket match can be aparoksha jnana, but the fact that I am feeling sad for some reason, it can be paroksha jnana. But the fact that I am feeling sad, or maybe I am feeling happy for some reason, is not paroksha jnana. I know it myself. How do I know I am happy? I know. What is this question you are asking? We say, I know directly. In the same way, I know I am the self directly. That is aparoksha jnana. If I have that knowledge of the self directly, and shoka nivritti akhe, then this shoka or sorrow moves away from my life. For example, this this aparoksha jnana, direct knowledge of the self, and shoka nivritti. It can be, this example can be given. A student has got some less marks in the exam, and she is crying about that, and that sorrow is there. Then a best friend of hers comes, says, "Oh, why do you worry about this? You've always stood first in class. You've always studied very well. You've always excelled in all the subjects. You're very good in sports. You're very good in extracurricular activities. This time, maybe because you were sick, you were not able to pay attention to your studies, and your marks have become less." So then the student is made aware of her own natural state of excellence in studies, sports, and extracurricular activities. She has temporarily forgotten that, and that is why she is worried, temporarily forgotten, because she is tuned in with the world, tuned in with samsara. Samsara here is every time good marks are coming, this time in the report card bad marks have come. So those bad marks have affected her, and she's tuned into that samsara, and so she's crying. She has got shoka. And when this friend talks to her and says, "You don't know who you are. You're the excellent student in this class. You're the brilliant student in this class. Why do you worry about this temporary setback? You just put it aside, get your signature from your parents, and focus on your studies from next term onwards. Take care of your health and do well. And in the next term, you're going to stand first again." If it's such a loving friend, they're going to say that. So this is what aparoksha jnana. When the friend says that, this student has got direct knowledge. Oh yes, what she says is right. I am now in class 9, and from standard 1 and even from LKG, I've been topping the class. Why am I thinking like this? Why am I worried about this? So the student puts everything aside. She wipes her tears, gets up, and goes to play, or goes to eat, or goes to sit and study. So when aparoksha jnana comes, when direct knowledge comes, what happens? Shoka nivritti. I am free from sorrow. If this knowledge was not there in her, even temporarily, because a friend told and she has reconnected with that knowledge, if it is not there, she is going to be crying about the marks that she has got. Avasthe, jivage. These two states of aparoksha jnana, the knowing of the self, and shoka nivritti, belongs to the individual, the jiva. There is no aparoksha jnana for Brahman. Brahman is always in the state of knowing only. It has got nothing else in it. Only the jiva doesn't know, and at one point of time knows that it is that truth, the self. Atmanam chet iti shrutihi. So this is what the Shrutis mean by, the way the Upanishads mean by Atmanam chet. If you think about the Atma, then you are that self, the aparoksha jnana, the direct knowledge. Why is Swami Vidyaranya initiating the discussion on the 7 states? Why is he talking so much? You can just say paroksha jnana. The teacher comes and says, "You are that Brahman," and then the student understands and realizes, "Yes, I am that Brahman." That alone is enough. Why all this? Why all these thoughts about, or why all these stages about ignorance, the wailing, and then the misapprehension that I am the doer, and all this going away, and then other knowledge, then self knowledge and realization of moving out of all sorrow, Why all these states are being spoken about? The words Atmanam che vijaniyat means if the self is known, is understood rightly with the explanation of the fifth and the sixth state, meaning the direct knowledge and the elimination of sorrow. The following verses are talking of the role of indirect knowledge. Indirect knowledge is knowledge by the guru, knowledge by the teacher. Ayamityaparokshत्वम् uktam tatvidham bhavet विषयस्वप्रकाशत्वात् धियाप्येवं तदीक्षणात् परोक्षज्ञानकालेऽपि विषयस्वप्रकाशतां समा ब्रह्मस्वप्रकाशम् अस्तीत्येवं विबोधनात्. Here interesting, we will bring the analogy of the swimming pool again, because this water in the swimming pool, water in the lake or water in the ocean is like the consciousness, is like the self we are talking about. That water is like the self, consciousness. It is everywhere all the time. We don't need to create it. We don't need to create a swimming pool to swim. The swimming pool is already created. We are just swimming in it. Consciousness not even created. Consciousness is always there. We are swimming in that consciousness. We are walking in that consciousness. We are floating in that consciousness. We are flying in that consciousness. We are sitting in that consciousness. We are standing in that consciousness. We are talking in that consciousness. We are thinking in that consciousness. We are feeling in that consciousness. We are helping each other in that consciousness. We are fighting with each other in the consciousness. Whatever we are doing in consciousness. So, ayam iti aparokshatvam uktam. Ayam means by the word this. When we say I know this, means that object is very close to me. It is here. I can see it. Ayam is not referring to an object. Even an object, you say this object. When it's close to you, you say this. When it's far away, you say that. It is far away somewhere. I think something, yeah. If it is far away somewhere, something has happened and my computer screen has switched. So it was not like before. I think here is the answer for that. Somewhere your device, okay, sorry. So somewhere the switch has happened. So whatever seemed this side is seeming that side to me. So far away is that and close by is this. I am, but here in this case, it is not referring to an object other than me. It is referring to myself as this. I am iti aparokshatvam uktam. Aparoksha means direct knowledge of this. Tadvat vidham bhavet. Tadvat vidham means that of two kinds. What are they? Vishaya swaprakashatvat dhiya api evam tadikshanat. Vishaya swaprakashatvat. The object this, or rather I, is self-shining. Is there anybody who is awake who doesn't know who is I? Everybody will say, I am only I. So that is self-shining. Vishaya swaprakasha. Swaprakasha means you don't need the eyes to say that I am here. You don't need the ears to say that I am here. I know that I am here without the help of my eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, feeling, or without my talking, holding, walking, or without my thoughts, without my emotions. I know I am existing. So that is called swaprakasha. And then dhiya, by the intellect also, evam tadikshanat. It is known this self is shining by itself, and it is also realized by thought. This intellect means steady thought. It can also realize, it can also know the presence of the self. Vibodhanat, knowing or recognizing or comprehending. Meaning, it can know, you can say it can know, like becoming one with it. Like the salt doll cannot know the ocean. When the salt doll tries to know the ocean, the salt doll becomes one with the ocean and the salt doll is no more. Our intellect, our thought is that salt doll, or it's a sweet doll, and the sweet doll is swimming in the ocean of consciousness. It is trying to search. The intellect, the mind is always having the habit of searching and finding out. The mind is active. So the intellect is the inward turned mind. It has got the same because we've been trained in activity. The intellect is also active. So it is searching, searching, searching. And when that intellect is made of sweetness, and that is the only property of the intellect, and this ocean of consciousness is also sweetness, by the very activity of searching, it loses its tensegrity of holding all the sweet together and remaining in a sweet form. And as the swimming happens in consciousness, that intellect just dissolves and merges with consciousness. परोक्ष ज्ञान कालेपि विषय स्वप्रकाशताम् समा ब्रह्म स्वप्रकाशम् अस्तीत्येवं विबोधनात्. परोक्ष ज्ञान कालेपि विषय स्वप्रकाशता. Even when the teacher was talking to us about who am I, what is the self, Brahman is there. The teacher is saying, like in the swimming pool, we are all, when we stand on the shore, bank of the swimming pool, and the master is teaching us how to swim, at that time also the water is there, so swimming pool is there. And then we get into the water and learn to swim, then also the water is there. In the same way, Paroksha Jnana Kalepi, when the teacher or the master is talking to us about consciousness, at that time also consciousness is there. And when we listen to that and we ourselves make an effort to know about that consciousness by ourselves, that time also the consciousness is there. Paroksha Jnana Kalepi Vishaya Swaprakashata, that Brahma Vishaya or the self has been shining. Sama Brahma Swaprakasham Astiti Evam Vibodhanat. So whether it is during the time when we are learning it from somebody, or whether we are contemplating on the Brahman by ourselves, that self-shining Brahman remains the same. It has not changed at all. Like, for example, the rope is there. When the rope is there alone, it is remaining as the rope only. Suddenly we see the snake. When we see the snake and the movement of the snake, that time also the rope is there. When we are afraid of the snake, that time also the rope is there. When somebody points out to us that no, this is not a snake, this is a rope, the fear goes away, the knowledge of the snake goes away, that time also the rope is there. Finally, when we see, yes, it is the rope alone, that time also the rope is there. Which means at all phases of our search of the truth is always there, self-shining by itself. Aparoksha Atma. The I is aparoksha. It is directly understood. Directly understood means self-shining. Like for example, the light in this room is directly seen. I don't need a torchlight to see this light. In the same way, the light of the self is directly there. I don't need anything else to know that I am here. The knowledge of I. Aham brahmetyamullikhya brahmasmityevam ullikhet paroksha jnanametanna Bhrantam badhani rupanat. Aham Brahma iti ullikhya. Anullikhya Brahma asti iti evam ullikhet. I have not cognized that I am the Brahman, but because of the teacher's teaching, I have I have known that Brahman is there. The teacher says Brahman is there. I know that, but I have not cognized that I am Brahman. Paroksha jnanam etat na bhrantam. There is no problem in this. There is no counterproductive thought. It is not a counterproductive thought. When you say that true realization of the self alone is realization, and what the teacher says is not the final realization. Here, as I was going through all this thought came to me, and I have written it here. This Paroksha Jnana, the teacher is talking. You are the self. The self is there. The teacher says, what is coming out of his mouth is sound particles which create vibrations in the air. These vibrations reverberate inside us. It comes through our tympanic membrane, it goes to the brain, and it gets reflected as some knowledge, and that knowledge is vibrating of what the teacher says. Yes, the Brahman is there. Brahman is there. That knowledge is vibrating. But that knowledge is not so strong because ultimately the teacher cannot do anything. You can take the horse to the pond, you cannot make the horse to drink water. In the same way, the teacher can tell us that Brahman is there, but we have to make the effort to realize that. So when this happens, it is in a very soft format as a thought. But when this triggers particles of self-awareness, it is substantially soft thought. However, in the ocean of awareness within, if the individual realizes means I meditate, I keep contemplating on that, I am in all manners, in all facets, I'm thinking about the same thought. At one point of time, this thought becomes very firm in my mind. The thought becomes very strong, and when once fully realized, when the thought is fully realized means the thought is filled with consciousness, that thought is filled with energy. Even today, modern day awareness or modern day manifestation techniques say if you want a desire, you fill the desire fully with awareness, the desire will manifest. In the same way, this knowledge of the self, this thought of the self, you fill it fully with your awareness, with your attention, with your energy, it manifests as self-realization. That thought becomes strong. Once fully realized, the thought merges into the ocean of reality. So what is the indirect teaching by the master is the self is existing. What is the direct understanding? I am the self. Aham Brahma iti anulikhya Brahma asti iti evam ullikhet paroksha jnanam etat na bhrantam badha anirupanat. The individual has not realized aham Brahma asmi. Only the Paroksha Jnana, Brahma Asti, Brahman is there. The teacher says that person has listened to that only. Paroksha Jnanam etat na bhrantam. This is not going to cause any confusion because the final understanding is I am that Brahman. But the teacher is saying Brahman is there. This is not contradicting the knowledge. When I hear something and what I know contradicts that knowledge, then I remove that knowledge which I heard. That knowledge gets negated or that knowledge is thrown out. But here, when I know Brahman is existing, the teacher says, and I know what is existing is I, that is Brahman. So in the same, Brahman is the knowledge, and it is not contradicting the knowledge that I understand. Bhrantam badha anirupanad. It is not contradicting this. There is nothing to show. Even after realization, the knowledge that Brahman exists does not become false. It remains true. even after realization that I am Brahman, the knowledge that Brahman exists still remains as it is without changing, and so there is nothing to like there is nothing to say that it should not be said. When the final knowledge is I am Brahman, you cannot say that the teacher should not say Brahman is, because that knowledge of the scriptures and of the masters is there and it is not contradicted by my own personal understanding of the truth. The Guru continues to answer the following verse. Brahmanastiti manam chet syad badhyet tada dhruvam na chaivam prabalam manam pashyamoto na badhyate. Brahmana astiti manam. Manam means measurement or a thought, which the teacher says there is no Brahman. If suppose Paroksha Jnana, or the teacher is saying this, there is no Brahman. Syat badhyeta tada dhruvam. Then certainly, when I realize and find out that I am that Brahman, then that knowledge will be destroyed because it is not the final reality. The final reality is I realize I am Brahman. But in this case, na chaivam prabalam manam. There is no such strong thought anywhere seen in all the Upanishads and the Vedas. Therefore, na badhyate. This is not refuted. The fact that Brahman is there is not refuted because anywhere in the Vedas and anywhere in the Upanishads, it has not been said that Brahman is not there. Everywhere, everybody is saying Brahman is there. So it is. Why are we doing all this hair-splitting study of this? Is even as we spend time studying this, we are in that Brahman. We are contemplating on the Brahman. It is just a matter of love. When you love somebody or when you love something, you spend a lot of time talking about it, discussing about it, trying to find out what is beautiful in that we love so much. So that is the whole idea behind going deeper and deeper into these small details of these arguments related to these verses. The disciple is questioning the validity of the individual knowledge. So that we will see tomorrow. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Pur Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasorma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय. हर नमः पार्वती पतये. हर हर महादेवा. हरि ओम.